Hello and welcome back to Jamango Academy. In this episode we are fixing the problem of noob players missing their jumps and falling into the void with no way of respawning. This is obviously a bit of an issue, so we're going to write a script using MangoLango to check player positions and teleport them back to our obby course if they have fallen off. Before we start coding, let's quickly talk about how Jamango handles positions. Every object in the world, like players, props, and spawn points, has a position which is stored as a vector 3. That just means it has three numbers: X for left and right, Y for up and down, and Z for forward and backwards. You can see these coordinates by pressing the tilde key, which is super handy for different situations. Now I've set up my respawn script for this episode and imported it through server.ts. In our respawn script, we're going to be constantly checking the player's positions, and if the player falls below a certain Y value, which is on the vertical axis, we'll detect it and move them back to spawn. So we're going to be using J.onGameTick, which runs every frame of our game. It's constant and it's constantly updating. We first need to get a list of all of the players in our game. So we'll set up a constant players, and we'll set this to J.getAllPlayers. This is a Jamango specific function which does exactly what it sounds like. It gets a list of all the current players in our world, and we've stored this in our players variable. Now we want to loop through each of those players and check their positions. If their Y value is below -10, this would mean that they have fallen off the platform and need to be teleported back to spawn. So to loop through all of the players, we'll use a for loop to get the player ID for every player in our list of players. To get their position, we can write a new constant position and set it to J.getEntityPosition. This will give us those three numbers from before, the X, Y, and Z values. And the entity that we're getting the position of is the player, so we'll put in player ID here. Now that we have the player positions stored in position in this for loop, we need to actually check that they are below Y -10. Because coordinates are stored in a vector 3, the 0 component is the X position, the first component is the Y position, and the second component is the Z position. So we'll use an if statement to check whether the Y position, the first component, is less than 10. If it is, we'll run another line of code to put them back to spawn, and MangoLango has the exact method we need, which is J.setEntityPosition. The entity that we're setting the position of is the player, so we'll write player ID, and then we'll choose where the player will teleport to. Right now we can see that our world spawn is at 0, 0, 0, so we'll spawn the player just a bit above that so they land on top of the spawn island. And there we go, that is our super easy respawn mechanic done. If your obby starts somewhere else than 0, 0 in your world, you can simply find the coordinates by using that tilde key and updating these values in your script. So to test the code from this episode, try deliberately jumping off your obby at different points, and if you respawn back to spawn, then all is good. Stay tuned for next video where we'll be making a more advanced checkpoint system, so the players can progress through the obby without returning all the way back to the start platform if they fall off. Leave any questions in the comments below, and thanks for watching.